Right, so in this video, I'm going to walk my personal finance class students through a pretty basic tax situation for this 24-year-old single male who just recently graduated from college, okay? He's living on his own. He works as a sales associate, all right? So just to be clear, this is for my students. This is not to be considered tax advice or anything like that. If you've got questions on, how to file your taxes, you'll need to talk to, an accountant or a tax professional, or go online and use one of the tax preparation services that are available to you. Okay, this is just for my students. So James again here is 24 years old. He's single. He's living on his own. Okay, so he would not be considered a dependent. We've got his W-2 here. Okay, his W-2 for the earnings of 2020. Okay, primarily what we're going to do for his tax situation, we're going to need his personal information, which is here in box E. We've got his social security number here, which is in box A. For his 1040, we don't need his employment information for if we're doing the 1040 ourselves. Okay, you would input this data if you were using one of the tax prep software programs. Okay, over here in boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you've got the wages that James has earned, the federal income tax that was withheld, Social Security wages and Medicare wages, those match up here. He did have Social Security and Medicare deducted from his paychecks. Okay, so those total up here. But for his 1040, we're only going to be using boxes 1 and 2 here. Okay. We're not going to be dealing with state taxes. That's down here in the bottom in boxes 15, 16, and 17. We won't deal with that for the 1040 in this case. All right. So let's go to our editable, fillable PDF here. We're going to enter James's personal information. So he was James A. Jackson. His Social Security number was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. He's not married. Remember, he's single. So his spouse's information is not relevant here. He lived at 123 Main Street. Okay. And that's in the fictional town of Lincoln, Connecticut, with the zip code of 06007. Okay. No foreign country name or province here. Presidential election, you can check that if you want to. We're not going to do that here. Okay. So as we go through this, I'm going to tell you, certain things. This is a very basic, again, tax situation. We're going to assume James didn't invest, receive, sell, send, exchange, or acquire any virtual currency like Bitcoin or, Ethereum or anything like that. Okay. James is single, living on his own, so he cannot be claimed as a dependent. He's not married, so none of that matters. We're going to assume here that James is not blind. Okay. He doesn't have any kids, so we can skip through all of that, okay? So in box number 1 here, we're going to go back to the W-2, okay? And that's going to be the total wages for the year 2020. So that's going to be $65,891.25. So let's enter that here. So $65,891.25, okay? The next few boxes, okay, we're going to assume that none of these things occurred for James. Again, very basic tax situation. No tax-exempt interest or taxable interest, no qualified dividends or ordinary dividends, no IRA distributions, no pensions or annuities, no Social Security benefits. He's young. No capital gain or loss, okay? And we're going to assume no other income, okay? All right, so we're going to add up all these lines. We've got zeros and 2A down here to 8. So these would all be considered 0. If you want to put a 0 there, you can, but you don't have to. You can just leave it blank. So we're going to repeat that $65,891.25 there in line 9. Okay. We're not going to have any adjustments to income. Again, very basic situation. Okay. So in line 11 here, all of part 10 here, 10A, B, and C would be zeros. So in line 11, we've got 65,891 and a quarter again. Okay. Now, the standard deduction, okay, he's single, so his standard deduction is going to be $12,400 for this year. That's going to go in line 12 here, so $12,400. For teenagers, if you're still living at home, you might have to go through a situation where you check the instructions for the standard deduction. If you made over $12,400, that's going to be your standard deduction. If you made less than that, there's a calculation you'll need to go through. Okay. All right. Line 13, there's no qualified business deduction. We'll kind of skip over that. We'll consider that a 0, and then add 12,400 to 0, and line 14 will give us 12,400. Okay. So line 15, this is an important one, the taxable income. So we're going to subtract this standard deduction from the wages that James earned here. Okay, so when you subtract 65,891 and a quarter minus 12,400, you get $53,491.25. Okay, so this is the income that James is going to be taxed on. All right, we're going to use this value very soon to determine what the tax is that he owes to the government, not what he paid, but what he owes. Okay. So let's go to the next page. That's the last box on the first page of the 1040. Let's go to the next page. All right. So at the top of the second page here, we've got box number 16 here. This is the tax that James is going to owe. Okay, so we need to see the instructions. So we're actually going to go to the IRS website, irs.gov, and we're going to search for 2020 instruction for the 1040. Okay. And once you find that, you can type in this address. It's a PDF here. You can type in the address to access this. We're going to go to page 65. Okay, we're going to go to page 65, and that's going to bring us to the tax tables for 2020. Okay, you can see this table, this part of the table, is for money earned between $0 and $1,000. This is between $1,000 and $2,000. This is between $2,000 and $3,000, and so on. Okay. Notice at the top of the table, in the first two columns here, you've got at least, excuse me, let me get out of that, at least this amount earned, but less than this, okay? So if you're between these two values, okay, then one of these values is going to be your tax, and it's going to be dependent upon how you're filing. Now, James is filing as a single individual, so when we find his taxable income within these tables, we're going to look in this column to see how much tax he owes, okay? So James's taxable income was $53,491.25, okay? So I'm going to go down a few pages here until we get to 53,000, okay? All right, just a little more. Okay, there we go. All right, so again, his taxable income was $53,491.25. So that falls between these two values, okay? So because his taxable income is between these two values, his tax owed is going to be that $7,555, okay? That's what he owes. So this is the amount that's going to go in box 16, okay? $7,555. So let's go back to our 1040, and I'm going to enter $7,555, okay? In line 17, we don't have anything from Schedule 2. Again, a very basic tax situation here. So when we get to line 18, we're adding line 16 and 17. So line 18 has $7,555. Okay. We don't have any child tax credits. We don't have a Schedule 3. Okay. Line 21 said to add lines 19 and 20. Well, that's going to be 0 also. Okay. And line 22, we're going to subtract line 21 from line 18. So line 22, if you subtract 0 from 7,555, you get 7,555. Okay. 23, we're not going to, there's no other taxes, no self-employment tax for James from Schedule 2, so we're going to leave 23 at 0. Okay. So now line 24, we're going to add 22 and 23 together. This is his total tax. So $7,555 is what James owed for the year 2020. Okay. Now, federal income tax that's withheld, what he's already paid. So in Part A here, we're going to go to Form W-2. Okay, so let's go to his W-2, and that's going to be the box number 2 in his W-2 form. So he's already paid $10,416.37. So $10,416.37. Okay. We don't have any other 1099 forms, no other forms. So if we add those together, we get 10,416.37. Okay, so that's the amount that he's paid to date. Okay. Now, 26, we're going to assume a 0 there. Earned income credit, no. Additional child tax credit, not for James. None of these, okay, until we get down to line number 33, okay? So line 33, the total payments, he hasn't paid anything except for what was taken from his check. So we've got $10,416.37, okay? So that's his total payments for the year 2020. Well, he only owed $7,555. He paid more than that. So that means he's going to be getting a refund, okay? So if you look at boxes, or this little area right here, this is where a refund comes into play. If you underpaid throughout the year, then you would deal with lines 37 and 38 here if you owe extra money to the government, okay? So for James, we're gonna be in the refund section, okay? Line 33 is more than line 24, okay? So that's gonna be a refund coming to him. So we want to subtract those two values, subtract line 24 from line 33, and you're going to get the amount that he has coming back to him, and that's going to be $2,861.37. Okay, that's how much he overpaid throughout the year. You're going to want to get all the money back to you that you have coming to you. There's no real reason at this point in your lives to do anything differently there, okay? So this is how much he's got coming. Now, the routing number, the account number, we don't have that information for him. If you're doing this for yourself, you would put in your checking account information or your savings account information there, okay? And then down here, you would need to sign your paperwork and date it, and so on, okay? But the main thing for this video was to walk you through the process and to see what James either still owed on his taxes or how much he would gain in a refund, okay? So it's a real basic tax situation and how to fill out the 1040.